Hi, my name is Gabby, and what's your name and what brought you in here today?
My name's Megan. Um, I am just, oh, like I haven't been to the doctors in maybe like 5 or 6 years now. Um, and I have a business trip coming up, and I know I need to go to the doctors. I know I'm gonna need to get like vaccines. I'm going to Egypt for this marketing program, and I don't want to go. I'm like, I don't want to go into the doctor's office, and I don't know like how else I'm gonna be able to like go through with my work if I like don't go in, because I need to have like some sort of physical. I mean, it's been so long since I've had that, and I know I'm gonna need vaccines for this trip, and I just like hoping that coming to see you will give me some sort of relief, because I don't know how to even manage it. Like, I'm just so like freaked out by the whole situation. I don't even want to think about it.
So, what about going to the doctor freaks you out?
Like, I don't care if like I have to go to the doctor. Like, I'll go to the doctor or the dentist or like things like that. Like, I've been for like flu and stuff like that. Like, if I like felt sick or anything like that, like I'll go to like my general um like I'll go to like a general doctor's office and things like that. It's just the idea of having to like get it physical freaks me out, because I don't want to like get my blood drawn. And so I have like going to the doctor is not really a thing, but like going and like knowing that I'll need blood work done, like that is just like my biggest fear. Like I won't go back. Like, if they were to tell me like they need to like take a sample and like send me to the lab, like I would just leave. Like, I can't do that, and I don't want to do that. And I know for this trip I'm going to have to. So I don't know. Yeah, I can't do blood work. It just, oh my God, I can't do blood work.
So, with the blood work, is it the blood or is it the needle?
Oh my God, I don't even want to think about it right now. But oh my God, like, okay, it's like blood I'm totally fine with. Like, it doesn't really bother me. Like, I'll like scary movies and stuff, like I'll see it. It doesn't really like matter. But like needles just like gross me out. And the idea of like having to get a shot or having to get blood work done, or like these vaccines that I need to have, like that is like so scary to me. And it just like, even talking about it right now, like it just feels like I'm choking. And I can't like even like I just can't, like it just like grosses me out. Like I don't want to be around needles.
So you said thinking about it alone gives you the fear like you're choking.
Yeah.
Are there any other physical reactions that you have when you
Yeah,
start
I just like think really fast, and like my hands shake, and like just the like, oh my God, I was watching Saw like with some of my girlfriends, and like there was that scene where like they like I just like I can't deal with those. And so like I won't go to the doctor, like I won't like go even to like give blood, like anything. Like I just don't want anything to do with it, so I just avoid it like completely. And now that like I have to do it for work, and it's embarrassing. Like I'm just ashamed of it. Like I don't want to go and tell my boss like, I'm sorry, I can't accept like this project because like I can't like be like mature enough to get like a shot. Like that's really like upsetting to me. But I don't know, I'm kind of rambling. This whole thing is just like it's so gross to me. And like when I get like anxious like that, like my mind wanders. What was your question?
What your physical reactions were when you even think about the fear.
Just like racing thoughts. And like I like will have a situation, and it'll be like so minuscule, and I'll just like blow it up out of proportion, and just like I feel like I just like spiral. So like even just talking about it, I just like feel like myself like getting so worked up. And it just gets to the point where like, oh, I just like don't even want to think about it. I just like I don't want like anything to do with it. I just want to like I didn't even want to see you. Like I like didn't want to come in because I knew I'd have to talk about this, and now I'm like getting sweaty. Like, oh my God. yeah, there's a lot of physical stuff that happens with it. I just get so like overwhelmed and like, oh my god, just thinking about it right now is like really getting to me.
So you mentioned that you didn't even want to come in and see me about it.
Yeah.
Was there anyone who told you come see me? Did you decide that on your own? How did you end up here?
No, so like my boyfriend was like, you know, like you need to get this done. Like you can't just like turn down this project. Like I just got promoted a few like months ago, and this is like my first major like international trip. And he was like, you need to go like get these done. Like HR is requesting like, you know, copies to see like that you've gotten like all your vaccines for Egypt. And I like can't. I think I made like 4 or 5 doctor's appointments in the past like 3 months that I've been, you know, ever since I found out I'd be going on this trip. And every day that comes along where I have to go to the doctor, like I'm just so overwhelmed with anxiety that I just like lay in bed, and I'll be in bed all day. And he was like, you should like, if you can't even get yourself to go to the doctor, like you need to start like seeing a therapist or something, because like you need to go through with this. And so I think that's like the reason I came in, is because like, yes, like I still don't like talking about it, but it's like I'd rather see you and have to like discuss it than like seeing a doctor and like actually having to like see it.
So kind of going back to the needles, it feels like, or it seems like you have pretty severe reactions. Are there ever any other times in your life that you feel that level of panic?
Yeah, when like plans don't really work out the way that I like imagine them to, or like plan for them to, like I don't like that disruption. Like I don't like when like I picture like how something's gonna be laid out in my head, and like I tell everyone the plans, like I get everything together, and then like the Uber cancels, or like someone can't go. Like I don't like changing in my routine or changing plans that I already had. So like it's difficult, I guess, for me to transition. But you know, that's something that I've just had like my whole life. It's just like I generally like, I guess I'm like kind of just an anxious person overall. But this is the only thing that's like truly like debilitating. And I just feel like it's so dumb. Like I'm 27 years old. Like I need to be able to like go to the doctor. Like I just
So based on that, when you were a child, you definitely had to receive vaccines for school, and you know, just throughout, you know, growing up in life, and probably again when you started college, you need some boosters. How did you react during those times, even when you were little? Were you still this?
Yeah, like I'm really close with my mom, so like every time I talk to her, she'll always like remind me of like when I was a kid. Like they would have to hold me down, and like I'd run out of the room. And like one time I like ran out of the room like all the way like almost out of the building, because like I got loose of their hands because they were like holding me down to like give me my like my like vaccinations. I've always hated it. I've always hated needles. When I've had to take it for like when I got my wisdom teeth out, or when like I'm getting ready, like when I left for college and things like that, I took like different like pills before that, like going in, just to kind of like relax me. But even when I would like be prescribed, like I used to see someone who like prescribed me like a Xanax for like situational like flying and stuff like that, because I don't like flying either. I would take it before I had to like go get blood work done, and on top of that, like I still like would have to make my boyfriend like turn around and drive me home, because like even like almost sedated, I was still like too like freaking out, like I couldn't get out of the car. Yeah, it's been like 5 years since I went to the doctor. Last time I went, I had to get lab work done because I thought I had mono, and I like had to reschedule, like I had to schedule the lab for like a later date. Like they wanted me to just go to the lab, and I was like no, like no, like freaking out. I had to go to a later date, and you know, I'm not prescribed Xanax anymore, but I took like 3 times the dosage of like what is it called, NyQuil. just to kind of like put me out. Like I have such a difficult time when it comes to like, I just like I don't even want to think about it right now. Oh my god.
So you said you're no longer prescribed
No,
anything for it.
because I haven't needed to. I haven't needed, like the prescription was to be refilled like as needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so 5 years ago I stopped going to the doctors.
Mm-hmm.
And I've started like not, I don't like longer need the refills. I don't even know if I can like get it anymore, to be quite honest, because I haven't had it in so long. But yeah, now it's like starting to come up again. I'm gonna need I'm gonna have to get like vaccines again. I don't know like how I'm gonna be able to go around that.
So you definitely avoid any situation.
Yeah, I've been avoiding like any situation involving like needles in the past, like, yeah, pretty much my whole life, unless absolutely necessary,
Mm-hmm.
but completely the past 5 years.
Okay. Was there, it sounds like, okay, was there a time that your symptoms worsened, in particular?
I think like they're the worst now just because I've been avoiding it for so long. Like growing up, it was something that like, just had to happen in order for like me to do like a summer camp, or for me to like be in high school, or even for me to like get a job. I got this job that I'm working now 5 years ago, and I had to, submit medical history. And ever since I started working, I was like, okay, there's no like need for it next to keep up. And so I just like stopped going to the doctor. And now it's like definitely the worst, because like it already was hard going to the doctor beforehand because I knew I was gonna have to be in a room with like the idea of getting a shot. Now knowing I have to for sure, and I haven't done that in so long, I'm just like so overwhelmed with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think now it's like the worst that it's been, because I've been avoiding it.
Okay, so even though you haven't been to the doctor in the last 5 years, have you been generally pretty healthy in life? Was there any health concerns where maybe you needed to go to the doctor and you didn't because of this fear?
Not really, no. I've been like relatively pretty healthy. Like I said, like if I am sick, like if I have the flu or anything like that, like I definitely will go in, but it's always like checkups and things like that when I know like there'd be absolutely no reason for me to have to get like any sort of like injection or like blood drawn or anything like that. So like I'll go and see like my doctors. Like it's not like I'm not like scared of my doctors. Like they're really cool and stuff like that. It's just if there's any sort of like blood work involved, like I like will just run away.
Okay. I'm gonna ask a couple questions about your family history just to get a little more information. Has there been any history of mental health issues in your family?
Not really with like me or my sister, but my little brother, he had like a difficult time in high school. He's like 10 years younger than me. So, but yeah, he had like learning disabilities as a kid. And so, we would have to go to like family therapy and stuff like that. But no, everyone else, that's the only time anyone in my family has like been to a therapist, and it was just like for my brother.
Mm-hmm.
But
and so you all went as a family with his?
Yeah, that's the only time I've been to therapy. And yeah, he has like, I think he has like dyslexia or something like that, and like he was, I don't know, thought he was like depressed at a certain point, or like anxious. I can't even remember what it was. But yeah, I mean, I had like a history of mental health issues. Like I had like, anxiety, where I went to the doctor and that's where they prescribed like Xanax for like those situations where I'm like super overwhelmed. Mm-hmm. But other than that, like no one in my family really is affected. I've kind of just always had this like fear since I was like a kid.
So you said you've experienced the anxiety and you got your Xanax prescribed,
Mm-hmm.
did you just go to a doctor for that? Did you ever see a counselor?
Yeah, it was like mandated that I did, but I only saw her maybe less than like 5 times. It was sort of like the doctor was like, oh, like I'm gonna prescribe this for you. I recommend you seeing a counselor. And so I did, because I didn't want to have to like take a pill every time like I'd go on a business trip or things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw the counselor, all she wanted to do was like talk about like my life and like as a child, and like all she wanted to know was like my family history, and not like
Mm-hmm.
what's preventing me from like going to the like what's preventing me from like getting a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just felt like she was a waste of time, and honestly like I just stopped seeing her.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll be honest with you, we do have to cover a little bit about your childhood and family history just for today's session. So, because that's, you know, relevant to things I
Mhm.
may need to know, but that's just for today. Unless it becomes relevant. We're definitely not going to dive into it unless you want to or it seems necessary.
Yeah, it's just like hard because like I like had to find like I had a normal childhood. It's just I've always been like scared of like getting a shot.
Mm-hmm. You said you had a normal childhood, so did you have pretty good relationships with your family?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, my parents are divorced. My mom like remarried when I was like really young, and so I've always grown up like with my stepdad and her.
Mm-hmm.
But it hasn't really been a problem. I kind of see him like more as like my dad than anyone else. I only see like my father like once or twice a year, and we don't really like keep in contact that much.
Mm-hmm.
I have like my stepdad and my mom had like 2 kids together, so I have like 2 little siblings, but yeah, we all like got along. We had like a really like just typical childhood.
Mm-hmm. So, you had a typical childhood. Can you tell me a little bit about your experiences in school, like childhood through college? Like, how was that experience for you?
So school was pretty easy for me. My parents like put me in Sylvan when I was little because I was farsighted, and so I was like when I was in like first grade, or not farsighted, I was nearsighted. I couldn't see far away. I couldn't see the
Mhm.
board. And so when I was in first grade, like my grades were dropping like super low, and so they put me in Sylvan, but then they realized like it's just because I couldn't see, and once I got glasses, like my like grades turned around, and I like was able to catch up on everything. But having that experience like being in tutoring has like really helped me. Like now like I kind of understand the system. I understand how to get an A. Like I lay down the rubric, and like I like do work like as necessary. I have my MBA and my master's of marketing. I got 2 master's degrees in 2.5 years. School has always been pretty easy for me. It's just like as a kid, I think that experience of like going to tutoring like really helped. And obviously like once I got glasses and I could like see the proper numbers on the board, like I was able to do the equations and stuff like that. So school's always been pretty easy. College has been pretty easy. I have a really good job now. Academics has always been something that was definitely a strength of mine compared to like my siblings who kind of struggled a little bit more in school. But I don't know, I've always just been kind of like strict on myself, and like I like things to be perfect. I like things to be my way. When things aren't my way, I just get like I can't, like they need to be as I planned out in my head, and when something's like not that way, I just get like overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm. Earlier you had mentioned when we were talking about your past experience with counseling, you mentioned that you went because you were mandated. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so I went to like my general doctor because I was having like all this anxiety around like having to get shots and having to fly. At that time, flying was really difficult for myself, but I've gotten like a lot better with that just because of how much I have to travel during work. And I feel like the more exposed I am to that, like the easier it's been.
Mhm.
Where like getting shots and things like that like only happens like once every few years, so it's a lot more difficult. But when I went to my doctor about that and he prescribed me the anxiety medication, he said like, you know, because this is like I don't know how you refer to the medicine, but he's like, it's a good idea to like see a counselor as well to like work through those issues
Mhm.
on top of just taking the medicine. And so I did, but after like 5 sessions, I kind of just stopped seeing her.
Mhm.
It
So-
wasn't like necessary like to keep with the prescription or anything like that. It was just like recommended. Like he's like, because I'm prescribing this, I recommend you seeing a counselor. And at that point, like I wanted to. Now I'm kind of looking into the counseling because like I really need it. Like I am just like so like it's just like so debilitating.
Mhm. So I've heard you use the word debilitating a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see where that'll fit in. So has it become, is this fear something that intrudes into your everyday life?
No. Like I said, like I'm a pretty like high strung person, but this fear of like the doctors and stuff like that like only happens like when I have an appointment.
So at those points in times, it's
Yeah.
very debilitating.
Yeah, at those points in time, it's
Okay.
like I literally can't breathe, but like day to day, like I don't think about it because I don't need to.
Okay.
But yeah, unless like it's coming up on TV in a scary movie, or like I'm a bridesmaid this summer for one of my best friends, and like we were getting our dresses like sewn, and I was like freaking out that she was gonna like poke me like while she was like hemming my dress, like situations like that, like I'll just
Mhm.
like I literally go blank, like I'm like seeing white, like I am so freaked out, and I just like get really tense and really still. But if it's not around, like I don't really care, like it's, you know, how often am I going to run into it, you know? But just when I do, I just like, that's when it gets to the point where like I feel like my chest is just going to explode.
So you mentioned seeing it in a movie,
Mm-hmm.
and when they were working on your bridesmaid dress, is it even, it sounds like that level of exposure where it's not even happening to you,
Mm-hmm.
does that send you into the same amount of panic as, or it greatly increases your panic when even you just see one?
Yeah, so like even if I just see it, like it panics me, but if I know like I have to feel it as well, like that's when like I'll like kind of like go blank.
Mm-hmm. So, I want to touch again real quick on your social relationships. You mentioned that your boyfriend is the one who was helping you be able to come in today.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit about your relationship with him.
It's good. We live together. We met in college, back when we were both in our undergrad. We've been living together the past like 2 years, but we've been together for almost 7.
Mm-hmm. And really quick, back to your parents. Do you feel like you have a support system there? How's your relationship in general with them?
I'm pretty distant from both like my dad and my stepdad, who I grew up with. But my mom, I talk to like at least like 2 or 3 times a week. I'm really close with her.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned you have 2 siblings.
Mm-hmm.
How are those relationships?
My youngest brother, just because he's like 10 years younger than me, I don't really like know him that well. It's more of like just a sibling relationship, like birthdays and Christmases and things like that. I don't like really keep up and text him all the time, unless it's like to wish him like, you know, happy birthday or like good luck on so and so, or to like see what he wants for like Christmas. But my sister I'm like really close with,
Mhm.
so I like talk to her all the time.
Okay. And then, aside from your boyfriend and your family, do you feel like you have a supportive environment? Like, what are your friend dynamics like?
Yeah, so I am really close. I have like a bunch of girlfriends from college who I've stayed really close with the past like, I don't know, 5 years after we graduated. They all live in Tampa. I live in Orlando now since moving in with my boyfriend, and starting this job 5 years ago after graduation. And where they all stayed, like, are in our college town, but I see them like every other weekend. I'm really close. It's only an hour away.
Okay, good. So I'm just gonna ask a couple quick questions, just so I have the information. Do you have any connection to the military at all?
No.
No? Have you ever had any legal history?
No.
No?
Do you mean like car accidents and like stuff like that? Like car
Not-
parking tickets and
Not
like
not that.
speeding
Like
tickets?
you've ever like gotten in trouble with?
No.
Okay.
No, but like I can't like drive to save my life, so I've definitely like gotten speeding tickets and like legal issues with that.
Okay. All right. Do you ever use? Okay, so actually earlier, you had mentioned you definitely had your Xanax, but you've stopped taking that for basically 5 years now.
Mm-hmm.
But you mentioned at one point when you had to go in, you took 3 times the normal amount of NyQuil
Mm-hmm.
to relax yourself.
Yeah.
Do you have any other substance use that I should know about?
Not really, no. I'm more of just like take things that I know will like relax me when I like have situations that really stress me out. So like if I, have to go fly, like I'll make sure to take like a Tylenol PM beforehand. Or if I, I'm trying to think of like situations that I have taken. I take Tylenol PM like pretty frequently whenever I have like certain things that I have to do, like traveling and stuff like that. The NyQuil that I took was only because like I had to get like my blood drawn and or my wisdom teeth out. But other than that, like no real like substance use or anything like that. Like of course in college, like, sometimes, but nothing like really major.
So that includes drinking. You don't
I drink socially.
socially. And then the medication you said you take just when you're in a really stressful situation. Are those all over the counter
Yeah.
medications? Okay. And then you mentioned Tylenol PM, that you take that pretty frequently.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just when you travel, or are you having sleep issues?
No, it's just when I travel. I take like melatonin every night for my sleep, so I don't need to. Unless I'm like really can't sleep, like if there's like a time change or anything like that. Me and my boyfriend travel quite frequently, and so I'll always make sure to have like Tylenol PM like on me, like in my purse or anything like that. If it's like getting to the point where it's like 1 a.m. and I still haven't fallen asleep since being in bed at 10, like I'll go ahead and take that just so I'm not like super groggy the next morning. But no, I just only really have trouble sleeping when I'm traveling.
Okay. And do you feel like that's due to the anxiety, or is it more just time zones, that
Just
kind
like
of
time
thing?
zones, stuff like that, yeah.
So real quick, I don't know if I got your age.
I'm 27.
27. Okay. And previously when we were talking about when you saw a counselor before, you said what wasn't working was that she only wanted to talk about your past and your childhood.
Yeah, like I don't like really care to like go into it. Like it's just like not a big thing for me. Like I really just want to work on like my anxiety right now, like dealing with like having to go to the doctor and like having to get this whole thing figured out. Like I leave in a few months and like I have to get my vaccines. I know there's like at least 8 of them. And I know like once I come back, like they're probably gonna want to do like blood work or something like that too, to like make sure I'm fine. And like that's why I'm in therapy. Like that's what I want to deal with. Like I don't want to go into like my parents' divorce and stuff like that, because like it doesn't have an effect on my life. Like I wasn't even like, I couldn't even remember it because I was so young. So it's like that's just like wasn't working in the past, and like I don't want to like pay someone like to dive into things that like I'm not even like here to see.
Right. So I know you said you only saw her for 5 sessions. Was there anything at all that worked, or what would you like to see working with me?
I don't know. One of my best friends is in grad school for like her PsyD, and she was saying of like behavior cognitive something that would help. She thinks like I have some sort of like anxiety, like phobia issue, and like therapy could work, but it was just kind of like upsetting that when I tried like going to therapy before, like they didn't want to deal with like my symptoms, like what I came to them about. Like all they wanted to do was like dive into my past, and like I need someone that's going to be able to like get to the root of the problem and not just like try to become like my friend. Like I felt like she was just like wanting to be friends.
Okay. So couple quick questions that might seem a little bit strange, but if you just don't mind answering them. How long would you say we have been in this session so far, if you had to take a guess?
Like 20 minutes.
Okay. And tell me like what you had for dinner last night.
Nachos.
And okay, perfect. Oh, I have one more. If you were walking down the street and you saw an envelope on the ground next to a mailbox, what would you do?
Check the address, and if it belongs to that mailbox, put it in.
Okay. There we go.
Or if it's a different address, put it in and raise the flag so it goes to the right one.
Okay. That's good.
Why are you asking me this?
Just a couple questions to, assess various levels of your cognition, pretty much,
Okay.
just to see where you're at. They're general questions everyone gets asked. So I do want to touch a little bit on, so we've definitely established that needles are a huge issue. Sorry.
Don't even.
You also mentioned that you just have daily anxieties, and you've always been an anxious person. What do those look like in comparison?
I don't like being late for things. I don't like when I get to Starbucks and my coffee is not already ready for the mobile order. I like everything to be as it should be, on time, what I planned out, what I thought my day was going to look like when I woke up in the morning, or before, when I went to bed the night before. So I definitely don't like when things are out of order, or plans are changed, and it will make me kind of stress out because I want everything to be perfect.
Okay, so when things don't work out, you said you get really stressed out about it. Is there anything else that happens physically, cognitively, anything of that nature? Does it affect your mood? Does it affect?
Yeah, I'll just get irritated, and I'll get mad at Evan, whenever plans have changed on us, or when our reservations didn't work out, or when I get a parking ticket, I'll just be so annoyed, and I just constantly don't want things to be my fault, so I'll project them onto others, which is not a good thing, and Evan definitely takes the brunt of that. But yeah, I just like things being as they should.
Do you ever just, when these happen and you get irritable or just upset the plans has changed, do you ever worry about things in general, things you can't change? You worry about, I don't know, just is the anxiety specific to when your plans get messed up, or do you feel it generally in other areas of your life?
More like just situations.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see. When you mentioned that sometimes when you're really irritable about plans changing, that your boyfriend kind of takes the brunt of that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
Like I'll just get mad at him for things that like he can't really control.
Mm-hmm.
But like we've been together for so long that like he's just used to it, and he knows like not to like take it personally that I'm just like upset.
Okay. So you two are able to work through it.
Yeah, like
on.
he knows like I'm just being dramatic, and like I'll be over it in a little bit.
Okay. Let's see. So, I know we definitely have the needle issue that, I'm sorry. Would it be helpful if I didn't use that term?
No, it's fine. I need to deal with it.
Okay. Well, if ever in the future when we're talking about it, it gets overwhelming, you can just let me know, or we can come up with a different word to use.
Okay.
So let me know if that's something that might work for you. So we've established that as something you want to change and deal with. Are there any other things beside that that you would want to work on?
Not really like at the moment. That's more of like why I came,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. It's really like all of my issues right now.
Okay. One more just odd question I have to ask real quick. Do you ever have any, even during when you're in a panic, and you said sometimes your vision goes blank or you only see white, have you ever had any like perceptual disturbances at all?
What do you mean?
Like, do you sometimes hear or see things that aren't there? Like things look distorted?
No.
Okay. So pretty much when you're in the middle of these panics, your vision just blanks.
Yeah, like I don't even know like what I'm doing at those times. Like I just like kind of black out.
Mm-hmm. How long would you say that lasts for, that level of panic?
No longer than a few minutes at most.
Okay. Have you ever felt like, you've said a couple of times when you're at the doctor and you need this to happen, especially when you're a kid, you ran away, it was really difficult, now you just avoid it. Do you ever feel as though you've had a panic attack during any of these? You mentioned your throat, you feel like you're choking. Do you ever feel as though you're gonna die in these moments?
I don't know, that sounds kind of harsh. Like I definitely freak out, like I can't breathe, my hands are shaking, like I don't remember the time, like I like just kind of go blank. Like I feel like I'm gonna like faint, but they're not like panic attacks. Like
Okay.
I don't think they're panic attacks.
Okay. You mentioned you feel like you're gonna faint. Do you ever actually faint, or it's just a feeling?
No, it's just a good feeling.
Okay.
Like if I don't get out of there, like I'm gonna like pass out.
So, do you find removing yourself from the situation decreases the anxiety?
Mm-hmm.
Even when it's on a movie, or
Yeah.
just you see it if you remove yourself.
Yeah, or like look away or
Goes
something
down.
like that. Yeah.
So, other than just trying to avoid it completely, and is there anything else you do, like when you're in a situation like this and you can't get away? Like you had mentioned trying on your bridesmaid dresses and they were hemming it,
Mm-hmm.
and you felt some panic then. Was there anything you did to help you get through that moment?
No, I just kind of went blank and it was over.
So you had, did you again have that like fear where your vision
Yeah.
goes white? Okay. Okay. Well, I think that might be all for today. And I look forward to seeing you next week.
Okay.
Thank you, doctor.